Welcome. I am Connie Rule, the Executive Director of the Bethel Park Chamber. We are here today to salute all of our small businesses. The Bethel Park Chamber is recognizing National Mom and Pop Business Owners Day on March 29th, 2016. We're saluting all of the small businesses in our communities that continue to spur our economy. I have Mayor Jack Allen today, the Mayor of Bethel Park, who will now give you the history of the National Mom and Pop's Business Owners Day.
National Mom and Pop Business Owners Day allegedly began with Rich Siegel, the son of the mom and pop business the day is named for. Siegel's parents first opened a hat shop called Ruth's in Everett, Massachusetts on March 29, 1939. The store became successful and later evolved into a women's specialty clothing store. The store then relocated to Medford, Massachusetts, and grew to 10,000 square feet. Revenue also grew to over $2 million. In 1997, the store closed. Amazing that a small one-item shop could grow over almost 6 decades. Some 77 years later, small businesses still remain the economic engine of growth in our business environment. Most mom and pops are generally known for their superior customer service and pride in their communities. We in Bethel Park have some of those mom and pops who fit that role.
All right, hi, Dr. John. Nice to meet you.
Nice to
I'm
meet
Bray
you.
Ford. I'm here as a volunteer for the Bethel Park Chamber, and we would just like to ask you a couple of questions. The first question would be, what inspired you to get into veterinary field, and when and where did you begin?
Well, it's a good question. I went to school in Chicago, Illinois, and I was taught by the Christian Brothers of Ireland. And one of the brothers really inspired us with biology. And I've always been interested in what makes things tick as far as the biology and animals and things like that. And another thing that I talked to one of your members about is, this goes way back, so I'm going to age myself, with Marlon Perkins and Wild Kingdom, and loved animals, watching about animals, so that was my inspiration then. And the second inspiration was 4 years of the military service from 1968 to 72. Through those 4 years, I always said, I'm going back to school, I'm going back to school, I'm going back to school. And I wasn't sure at that point what I was going to do, but I knew that whatever I was going to do, I was going to do it well. And so I told all my 4 children, you'll never be as good a student as I was. And I enjoyed zoology. That was my major, about animals. And my 4th year in zoology, I said, I'm going to give vet school a shot. So I applied and got in.
Nice. That's a nice answer. The second question is, did it take a lot of initial investment by your part?
To do this place, yes. If you looked at, I had a clinic before, the Affordable Care Veterinary Clinic in Finleyville. And if you look at this and you compare it to that, I mean, I was Fred Flintstone. So the easiest way to understand this is my son's, his ideas, my money.
Okay.
It did take a lot of initial investment. This is totally different than what I did before, but the technology he has, it just blows me out of the water.
Okay, nice.
So one of the things when you come to our veterinary clinic, a Step Up Veterinary Clinic, you'll see it's a lot of photography. My wife and I love to travel. All the photography here is her pictures. We've been all over the world. India, we've been to South Africa, Botswana, Tanzania. We walked with the mountain gorillas in Rwanda. So every picture has a story, and I just wanted to really push this. And so one of the things when we built the clinic, every room has a little distinct story behind it. So it's, I really like it. I think some of the people that come here really like it also. My favorite probably is Mr. Lucky here, the big alpha male mountain gorilla. He's got a story unto himself. We were only about 20 feet from him. You could see his eyes, and we weren't getting any closer. So I hope you enjoy the pictures anytime you come down here to see us.
Last question here.
Sure.
Dr. John, what exactly is your role in this business?
Well, my role has changed a lot since I sold my initial veterinary clinic. I work for the state now at the Meadows Racetrack as the state veterinarian. So I'm there full time, so I'm not here as much as I'd like to be. But I get to be here one day a week. The biggest challenge for me is learning my son's system. I mean, he's got a very intricate, complex system, which I think is excellent. It's just that my old brain doesn't catch on to new technology and all these things so quick. So, but I'm hoping to see a lot of my old clients. I'm hoping to just expand this and just learn as much as I can. So, keeps me younger, hopefully.
Nice, perfect. Well, I just want to say thank you again for your time. We really
No problem.
appreciate it.
I'm thrilled to be here.
Now we're going to continue our tour at a Step Up Veterinary Clinic with Dr. Randolph. Hi, Dr. Randolph. How you doing?
Good. How are you doing today?
I'm good, thanks. What made you decide to enter into this field?
Well, I think entering into this field kind of was something that I grew up with. I grew up with my father, who was a veterinarian. Obviously, had been a veterinarian ever since I had been born. So kind of grew up in different various veterinary clinics throughout the years. I still remember he worked at the Animal Rescue League downtown, and sometimes that when we couldn't find a babysitter, myself, my sister, and my younger brother would tag along with him, and sometimes we might be hanging out, watching him do things with the animals. Also grew up on a farm, farm over in Peters Township, so kind of animals were always around. Mm-hmm. And I think when it came time to decide if I was going to do something after college, it was probably going to be veterinary medicine. So,
okay. Tell us about your operations here.
So our operation here, we just opened in November.
Okay.
So we're a brand new veterinary clinic. Decided to kind of design it from the ground up. So we designed this place to run as a veterinary clinic versus a lot of veterinary clinics, they kind of been retrofitted from other buildings and other houses to kind of try and fit the purpose of a veterinary clinic. So here we kind of designed it around the animals. So we designed it, one, to, kind of just alleviate any animal's fear, and also to make it relatively easy for clients. We designed the whole building so that, we can get you in, you don't have to be waiting, you don't have to be concerned about, other animals fighting with your animals and things like that. So pretty much just designed it around the animals and the clientele we expect to see. So just to give prospective clients an idea of what they would be seeing when they come in here, first thing you would see with my father is the reception room there where we saw the sign on the wall, and you'd see Lauren there. Lauren would take some initial information from you and then bring you into one of our exam rooms here. This is where you'd spend a majority of your time here with us, where the technician would come in, take an initial physical, and then the veterinarian would come in and kind of follow up with you and see what needed to be done. Everything here we designed around you and the patient. So everything gets to be done in the exam room. Everything from doing all of the medical records to actually finally completing payment and everything you can do in the room here, so that when you need to leave, you don't have to worry about corralling your animals or anything like that. They're in the room. We can take payment in the rooms and then get everything to you so that when you're ready to leave, you could just walk out the door. So this is our surgery suite where any animals needing surgery would come. As you can see, it's a dedicated suite, and that's one of the reasons why we designed this building from the ground up. So this room is only used for surgery. You can see our medical pass-through window in there, and everything would come into here and would be strictly for surgery, and then recovery would take place out in the treatment room. Here we are in our dedicated x-ray room where we have digital radiography. So essentially that means that as soon as our technicians take an image and they have the x-ray displayed there on the screen for them. We also have this room connected to all of our exam rooms. So any patients needing x-rays, we're able to pull those x-rays up in the exam room and go over them with the clients. So we're now standing in our dedicated dental suite. The dental suite, as you can see, we have digital radiography, so we have dental x-ray on the wall there. And the dental suite, basically the only thing that is performed in here are dentals. A lot of veterinary clinics you'll see where dentals and surgeries are sometimes combined. So one of the things that we wanted to do here to ensure sterility in the surgical suite is to perform dentals outside of it. So that's why we have this dedicated dental suite. And finally on our tour, just to give you an idea of where your animals will be staying with us when they're here, we did design this place to have dedicated dog and cat wards so that dogs and cats, just like in the exam rooms, we have a dedicated cat exam room. mostly for the cats, but also for some of the dogs too, so that they're not stressed out while they're here and they're only with their own kind. We also designed the building to have an isolation ward, so any infectious patients, we have the capability of caring for them without compromising the sterility of the rest of the hospital. Primarily designed it for parvo cases, but we did design it for any upper respiratory infections, anything like that any animal needs to stay with us for any period of time. We don't want them infecting other patients throughout the hospital. And then in our cat ward here, as you can see, we have dedicated cat condos for the cats with no bars, so they just have the plexiglass fronts on them. Basically, again, just to be as stress-free as possible for the animals.
What type of staff do you guys have here?
So we have a lot of staff here. We've got a lot of veterinary technicians. All have been in the veterinary field. Pretty much our staff here has a combined over 40 years experience in the veterinary field. Lauren is our receptionist, so she's who you would see coming in the door. And then our technicians, Mandy, Danielle, Joe, and Kat, are all who you would see in the rooms.
Do you think the veterinary business will experience change over the coming years with new technology and medications available?
I think we're already seeing change in the field with new technology, especially. That's one of the things we designed here, is to design this place to be kind of at the forefront of technology. So things that we designed pretty much include everything that you would expect to see probably in any business in 2016, where you pretty much have access to all of your records online 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We also designed it so that you have a mobile application so that you can request refills. Basically things that you would expect of a business in 2016, we were able to make a reality. And I think that going forward is what a lot of us as veterinarians are going to have to adapt to. Sometimes I think veterinarians are slow to adapt to new trends and changes, and so that's one, I think, in the coming years that's going to put more and more pressure on veterinarians.
Okay.
So we try to stay at the forefront of that.
All right, perfect. What challenges do you foresee?
Challenges that I would foresee, especially in the veterinary field, is dealing with the springing up of online veterinary pharmacies. We offer our own online veterinary pharmacy, affordablevet.net, and so I think that's going to be one of the biggest challenges too, also for veterinarians, is just in adapting and dealing with the fact that there are very many avenues for people nowadays to be able to get medication, and primarily what we want to see is that the patients get the proper medications.
What advice would you give to young people who are thinking about entering into the same field?
Young people looking at entering into the field, I would definitely recommend that they get some hands-on experience. So I would definitely recommend going to your local veterinarian and just talking with them, seeing if you can shadow them for a day. I know my father would say the exact same thing, that pretty much any of us would be more than willing to allow someone to shadow us throughout the day. We're very happy to explain everything that we've gone through, the challenges we've seen, what we liked about becoming a veterinarian, what we didn't like about becoming a veterinarian. So pretty much as with anything, just getting some experience before you decide that that's what you want to do.
On behalf of the Bethel Park Chamber, I'd like to welcome you to Bethel Park. You are one of our newest small businesses here, and we're excited to have you. Thank you for doing the tour with us today. It was a very pleasure. And I'd like to now present this little certificate in honor of you celebrating National Mom and Pop Business Owners Day, which is March 29th on Tuesday. So please be tuning in to watch our featured businesses in Bethel Park. Thank you so much, doctors, for enjoying it. And for your staff. Thank you.
Thanks for welcoming us.
It is my pleasure to welcome a Step Up Veterinary Clinic on Clifton Road. This father and son business is owned and operated by Drs. John and Randolph Stephenson. It is a small new business in Bethel Park, and we are delighted that they took the time to interview with us today and to give us a tour of the beautiful facility.
Hi everybody, Al Levine, the Talking Machine here. Guess what time it is? It's time for the second annual Designer Bag Bingo. Join us Friday, May 6th at the Bethel Park Community Center. Doors open at 6:30 p.m.
Tickets are $25 each and are available at the Bethel Park Public Library
and at EV True Value Hardware.
Proceeds from the Designer Bag Bingo benefit the Bethel Park Volunteer Scholarship Fund, administered through the Bethel Park Community Foundation. The bags are on display at the Bethel Park Public Library if you'd like to get a peek at them before the event.
For more information, call 412-831-3304.
Join us May 6th for the second annual Designer Bag Bingo.
All I wanted was just one book.
I've shown an interest in making home movies. Me and some buddies would just grab a camera and you just start making these videos, and then you realize at some point that this isn't just a hobby anymore, it's something that you actually want to pursue, and there's this great facility right down the road, BPTV. A lot of people will try to do these productions on their own, and one of the things they don't have is the equipment, but right here is everything that you need in one nice little bundle. There's lights, cameras, reflectors, dollies, all kinds of little knickknacks, like anything that you'd want to use that you would need for a production, you have it right here, like it's all right here. You can make your own feature movie just with the stuff from this studio. Come meet Dave Cable, let him show you around, and I think you'll realize that this is something that you could fall into regardless of your level of expertise, whether you're a beginner or even if you're a more advanced learner. There's something here for everyone, and I feel that you just need to come through and just be a part of the experience and just watch and learn, and let Dave be your guide.
We're here with the Walsh family from Bethel Bakery. When, where, and why did you start your business?
When did I start it? That was back in 1955 on a small, I had 2 garages and a storeroom on South Park Road, which is about a block down and around the corner. And from there, we were there for 3 years until we moved up to the present location, which means we've been here for 60 years.
Do you know how much you had to invest to get started?
It cost me, we started out as a partnership, believe it or not. A woman, she come up with $2,500 and I had $2,500, and that made the $5,000, but after we start buying equipment, we figured we need another $300 put in. So it was $600 a piece, so it was $12,000 we started in the business then.
When did you start to add staff?
Well, by the time I took over from my parents, it was 1991. At that point, we had, my parents already had 30 employees. So we had 30 employees then, and we have over 85 now. So it wasn't my goal to have, keep adding X number of employees. It was just a matter of, hey, we need to do something else, and we need more help. So that's how that happened. And great loyal customers that keep needing us for our service.
How did you grow your business?
How did I grow my business? On giving the people something that they want, which is nothing but with top quality merchandise and consistency, and being very lucky to have employees that really knew what they were doing.
How has your business environment changed?
Well, when Chris and I took over in 91, there wasn't anything like the internet. So in 2000, I can remember our management team saying, hey, what are we going to do about a website, this or that? And the discussion was made about whether it should be e-commerce or not. And one of the team members, I believe it was Cindy Schneiderly, our office manager, she says, I don't want to look at these baked goods and not be able to order them. So the decision was made in 2000 to have online ordering. So that's definitely been a very positive change for us, that our customers can order Bethel Bakery 24/7 and be able to pick it up. And as long as they have their order in within 48 hours. Another way it's changed is we've expanded over the years. We had a fire in November of '92, and a year later we took over the space that was formerly occupied by Barker's Meats. And so we expanded then, and then about 4 years ago we had the opportunity to expand again into the tailor shop that was next door to us and the insurance shop that was next door to us. We put in the wedding department that we're in now, and also a shop just for cake ordering and pickup. So we expanded our square footage for retail space there. 5 years ago, we had the opportunity to purchase the plaza that the bakery was in. Previous to that, we rented from Tister Brothers, and hence that what is precipitated the adventure down into moving the wedding department down and then the cake place down. So it also created a little bit more space in the production end also, where we could have a larger ordering place for the call center, and then a larger cooler, because more and more cakes need to be refrigerated before they leave the store, because they seem to go further and further all the time. So we have a nice big cooler for the cakes right before they leave the store. Welcome to the Bethel Bakery's Cake Place. This room here was designed so that when customers have an idea, oh, I'm not sure what I want, but I think I have an idea, come on to our cake place and we'll help you. Carol that works here in the cake place, she'll help take that idea on your mind or on your phone, or wherever your paperwork that you bring in will be a platform for us creating a cake that'll be just perfect for that special occasion. On the board up above, we have different sized cakes, so you have a visual of how big the cakes are. And then, of course, we have 2 monitors here, so we can show you pictures on our Pinterest, Flickr, or our website. This is our main entrance to the store. The spot that I'm in at the moment was previously occupied by the wedding department, but then they moved down the plaza a little bit. We have our self-service donut case right here, and then around the bend we have a self-service case where we have some of our pepperoni cheese rolls, which we didn't make years ago because we never thought savory, back in the day. Bakery was bakery. But then we have our cookie case, then our dessert case, and our decorated cake case. Many people need to enhance or savor relationships, so a last-minute birthday cake is the ticket. Many times we're so busy we forget about those special birthdays. We have our coffee cakes and the cupcakes, and then we have some islands in the middle that typically are the holiday or the most impulse purchased items right in the middle of the store. So we have a monitor in the store that shows some cake decorating activity that's been pre-filmed, so people get an opportunity to see live cake decorating action while they're waiting. A lot of times some people get so involved in the video they don't realize their number went by. This is our wedding department. Typically it's by appointment. However, we like walk-ins too. And we have 2 consultation rooms. And so on Saturdays, it's not unusual for us to be seeing 2 brides and maybe 1 couple out here waiting for their appointment. We have a lot of display cakes on display here as well as in the back. Our decorators spend a lot of time crafting those designs, so they have visuals on our iPads to look at as well as the actual wedding cakes on display. We cover them with rolled fondant so they stay really nice. And we actually dust them once a week so they stay really fresh. We have a very small window between the time the cakes are decorated and the time they're delivered, if they're a wedding cake like this. So we really want to make sure that we capture a photograph of them before they leave. So we have a little photo room here, and we have it set up. We have the lights we can turn on, and we have the camera already set for its perfect setting so that we know exactly we have just the right amount of time to get it done before it goes out. This, as well as any of one of our decorated cakes, we may need to take a picture of it to keep our website as current as possible so that we have the most updated designs. And when they come out, anything new, we have a chance then to also be able to get a picture of it. And this room's always available. It's not like we're trying to create a space in the production area for it. So this has worked out really well in our expansion.
Do you think your business landscape will change in the upcoming decade?
Oh, everything changes. That's the one thing about life is it's constant change. I do think that there's going to be some changes. I think accessibility is really important. That's why over the years we've had some retail partners where our product is more available at other locations. I believe that people will possibly be looking for delivery because delivery is a nice thing, be able to point, click, and have it delivered. So I see those are all potentials for the future, but the one thing that has to stay the same is the quality and the service has to be destination worth going out of your way for and exceptional.
Do you have any advice for a new business owner?
Well, that's tough. A new business owner has to be able to show their product, have the best quality, have the best service. And a lot of times I think people don't necessarily understand that because they're so interested in the actual product itself and they don't understand the service aspect of many businesses. So I think that's something that they have to consider along with their product.
We love being in the center of town. We feel like we're in the heart of Bethel Park. We've got the new, beautiful fire department right next door to us. We're right down the street from the police department, the library, across from St. Valentine's on the T. So we couldn't think of a better place to be, and we just appreciate so much all the loyal customers that have made this trip for over 60 years now. Thank you.
I'd like to present this certificate to the Walsh family for National Mom and Pop Business Owners Day, March 29th, 2016, to Bethel Bakery.
Jack, thank you very much. It's an honor and a privilege. We couldn't have done it without our loyal customers and the great team of 85 bakers we have back in the front and the back. So thank you very much. We're looking forward to the day.
For those of you in Bethel Park that don't know me, I am Mr. Bold, one of the many stars here at Bethel Park TV, Channel 7. I hope that the folks in Bethel Park understand what we have here in the way of BPTV, the asset that the television station, the public television station, is to the community of Bethel Park. For Mr. Bold personally, one of the things that I would like to do, and I've talked to Dave about this, is a show gearing itself towards veterans. And I would throw out an invitation to the veterans in our audience here in Bethel Park or around the South Hills. If you want to contact Dave Cable here at the station and let them know that you would be willing to share your experiences, especially the World War II veterans who are losing here at an alarming rate, and pretty soon there's not going to be many of them left. I would love to get them on TV if they would be willing and interview them.
Hi, we are here with Mr. Flynn at the Flynn Insurance Agency. How long have you been in business?
The agency itself has been in business for 44 years. We started in 1972.
Has your business environment ever changed?
It's constantly changing. Insurance is definitely an environment that is always changing. It's an ever kind of as the marketplace changes. Like right now, Uber is a big factor in our business, and a lot of the economies of sharing, like your Airbnb. These are things that normal policies weren't designed to cover. So now we're having to figure out ways to endorse existing policies and figure out ways to cover individuals that normally these things would be excluded. Now we got to make sure that they are covered, because we can't stop people from doing them. No one's going to stop the Ubers from operating, or the kind of economies that are coming into place. So that's just on the personal line side. But yeah, always ever changing business. There's lots of things that we have to adjust to as things go along.
Do you think your business landscape will change in the upcoming decade?
Absolutely. In fact, one of the biggest things is going to be autonomous vehicles. That's going to be something that's going to be developing in probably the next, say, 10, 20 years, and it's something that's going to start affecting automobile rates. I believe they're going to start to go down. In fact, right now, I think they just passed a law where they're going to require the braking on vehicles. And as these things are developed, and as the governments push it forward, requiring it, it's going to create more safer vehicles, which is good for everybody. But it is going to drive down our premiums here, which affects our revenues, and but it is great for customers. So it's definitely something that's going to be something you're going to see in the next 20 years for sure. That's our bread and butter is the auto, and autos are changing.
Do you have any advice to a new business owner?
For a new business owner, I would say get yourself a really good accountant and lawyer, and I find something that you're passionate about. I think is important, because you're going to be doing a lot of time in your business by yourself. I mean, it's not your 9 to 5 kind of job. You're going to be spending a lot of hours working on it, and so if you're not passionate about it, you're going to have a hard time doing that. So I think that's important.
How long have you been in the business?
I've been in the business for 12 years. I started in 2004. That's when I joined my father. I don't know if that's another one of your questions, but that's how long I've been here now. Yeah, I've been operating. He kind of handed off the reins about 8 years ago, I'd say, where he's been mostly retired. But yeah, I joined about 12 years ago.
What challenges does your industry experience?
Challenges that our industry experiences. Well, there's certain things that you can't account for, like blizzards, and weather patterns have been changing a little bit. We had just locally in this area, we had a lot of losses back in 2010. So because of that, all the companies had to respond by raising the rates quite a bit, and that causes a disruption with your customers, because you don't want to see the rates go up that much, and you want to make sure that they're happy, but sometimes you have to make compromises where you have to increase costs in certain areas, and that doesn't make people too happy when they get a 20% increase in their homeowners over a couple of years, So there's definitely challenges there. There's challenges in like we discussed before about the marketplace, different technologies coming out and staying ahead of things, make sure our coverages line up with the risks that are out there in the environment that we deal with, on the personal line side and the commercial line side.
What is your role in this business?
Well, I mostly manage and sell. That's essentially what we do here. Operate the agency, and I still sell. So I'm not completely just outside. I do still go out, sell, call, service. I'm also the janitor a lot of times. I mean, it's definitely it's still a small business, so you still wear a lot of different hats, and that's any kind of small business. You're going to be doing a lot of different things. I'm also IT, so I have to take care of all that stuff.
Jason, I'd like to present you a certificate for National Mom and Pop's Business Owners Day, which is March 29th, 2016, to the Bill Flynn Insurance Agency.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
I've shown an interest in making home movies. Me and some buddies would just grab a camera and you just start making these videos, and then you realize at some point that this isn't just a hobby anymore, it's something that you actually want to pursue, and there's this great facility right down the road, BPTV. A lot of people will try to do these productions on their own, And one of the things they don't have is the equipment, you know, but right here is everything she needs in one nice little bundle. There's lights, cameras, reflectors, dollies, all kinds of little knickknacks, like anything that you'd want to use that you would need for a production, you have it right here, like it's all right here. You can make your own feature movie just with the stuff from this studio. Come meet Dave Cable, let him show you around, and I think you'll realize that this is something that you could fall into regardless of your level of expertise, whether you're a beginner or even if you're a more advanced learner. There's something here for everyone, and I feel that you just need to come through and just be a part of the experience and just watch and learn, and you know, let Dave be your guide.
And for those of you in Bethel Park that don't know me, I am Mr. Bold, one of the many stars here at Bethel Park TV, Channel 7. I hope that the folks in Bethel Park understand what we have here in the way of BPTV, the asset that the television station, the public television station, is to the community of Bethel Park. For Mr. Bold personally, one of the things that I would like to do, and I've talked to Dave about this, is a show gearing itself towards veterans. And I would throw out an invitation to the veterans in our audience here in Bethel Park or around the South Hills. If you want to contact Dave Cable here at the station and let them know that you would be willing to share your experiences, especially the World War II veterans who are losing here at an alarming rate, and pretty soon there's not going to be many of them left. I would love to get them on TV if they would be willing and interview them.
Today we welcome Virgili Beer Distributing as our guest, participating in the National Mom and Pop's Business Owners Day, which is being celebrated on March 29, 2016. This is a business founded by Garino Virgili in 1945, over 71 years ago. Reno, his son, entered the business shortly thereafter, and in 95, Reno's daughter, Mary Lou, joined her father in operating the business. Josh, Mary Lou's son, is also employed in the business. Reno, please share your father's story with us. What was it like starting a business back in the mining days?
Well, my father was in the saloon business originally. And when the mine would let out, he'd have hundreds of people coming into the bar. And he had a business that was flourishing and was great. But the problem was he couldn't get enough beer because most of the beer was being rationed or sent overseas during World War II. So my father was in visiting his attorney one day, and he says, "Billy," he says, "how's business going?" He says, "Business is great, but," he says, "I can't get enough beer." He said, "Well, why don't you start your own distributing?" My dad said, "I don't know how to start it." He said, "Oh, don't worry about it." He said, "I'll take care of it. I'll handle it for you." Well, in this day and age, if you apply for a liquor license, it'll probably take you months, maybe even years sometimes, to apply and get one from the state. However, my father left it up to the attorney. 3 days later, he calls my dad. He says, "Okay," he says, "you could go to the breweries and get beer because," he says, "you got your license already in 3 days." Now, you might want to know what the cost was.
Right.
When he did that, the total cost, the attorney, the filing fee, the license, $35.
My goodness. What would it cost today? What to start a business like this, what would it cost?
You'd have to have a lot of money, but to start a business like this today, you'd probably have to buy a license from somebody that's already existing, because there's not too many licenses available to be issued by the state. So every one of these licenses, a tavern license today probably going for about $75,000 or up from there. And a distributor's license probably about the same. Now, the big thing today is the inventory that you have to keep. The inventory today is horrendous. I mean, all the craft brewers are coming out, and you have to have every one of them, and it's a far different business than when I started.
What are the challenges that you see coming up in near future with all the different legislation they're trying to pass?
Well, we're already experiencing some of that with Giant Eagle being able to sell beer, and some of the sheets, not in this locale, but some of the sheets are selling beer. Be very frank with you, it hasn't affected us at all. First of all, people thought it was going to be more reasonable to buy from a Giant Eagle or one of those outlets. However, they were proven wrong. It's more expensive. So that's one thing. Now, another thing, if a person drinks beer, a fellow drinks beer, he's not going to run it every day for a 12-pack or a 6-pack. He's going to get his case of beer and go home and he's set for the week or whatever. The problems today is finance, money. Your cash flow is very high. It's not something that you have to tread on lightly. So I would say that if somebody were to start a business today, number one, they'd have to have a good cash flow behind them, and number two, they'd have to have good management skills. Because even myself, and my daughter's here, she can tell you, if it weren't for her and my grandson, I would be lost in the business today because of the computer issues. I don't know a thing about computers. It's past my age and my lifestyle. And if she wants to tell you about how it transitioned from me writing everything out, with paper and pencil. Every morning I'd get up way before opening time to get all these orders, paper and pencil, write them all out. Today it's totally different, and she can tell you that. I wouldn't know where to begin.
Mary Lou, what is your perspective on the new role in the business?
Well, I would say, just like my dad had said, that in his day and age, there was like 3 items. Today, there's thousands. We have books upon books, and every day there's a new item coming out, and people want to try the new items that are out. And Giant Eagles, in a sense, has helped, believe it or not, because of the fact, somebody will go and try something, and then they say, oh, well, I like it. Now they want a whole case of it. So in that angle, I would say, yes, Giant Eagles, in a sense, and some of the other 6-pack shops that are around, they've helped, as far as purchasing items, new items, trying new items, rather than, just like you or me, if we would go to the South Hills Village and want to buy something, we don't want to try something, a whole, quantity. A smaller quantity helps. So therefore, it's been a help in a sense as far as that's concerned. As far as the new items that are out on the market, every day there's a new item coming in, and my dad will say, well, what is this? What is that? And, myself and my son, because there's 2 of us here, combat him. Don't worry about it. That is our one and only answer. Don't worry about it. And, so the new products that come out every single day, as far as he's concerned, his generation, there was 3 items, like I said. Today, there's thousands upon thousands of items. And there's, items that we sometimes don't even hear about, that, a customer will come in and say, do you have this, or can you get it? And a lot of times, you go on vacation and you try something, let's say in Mexico or wherever. We can't get what you may have tried on vacation here in the States because of the way the rules and regulations are with the liquor board.
Rena, you mentioned your inventory. Could you give us just a little idea just how large it is?
All right, I'll give you a little example. When we started in 1945, there were 3 beers, basically. Duquesne, Iron City, Fort Pitt. And we became the wholesaler for Duquesne. The business at that time was bigger than it is today. We had, many more trucks, and we were delivering all the other distributors. But when Duquesne folded up, of course, we went smaller. The inventory back then was very, very minor, simply because there were 3 beers. But my daughter can tell you, today, she'll maybe give you some kind of a number, but today there's hundreds and hundreds of different brands of beer that we have. And the inventory we carry is phenomenal. I mean, I don't want to mention a monetary figure, but she can tell you approximately how many different items are on the floor, either here or in the warehouse.
I would say in case volume, different varieties, there's probably over 300 different varieties here. In barrel variety, now you have a 6 barrel, you have a quarter barrel, you have a 20 liter, you have a half barrel, and you have a 50 liter. So you need to know what each one of those consists of, quantity wise, and then as far as different varieties, I would say probably in a ballpark figure, probably 100 to 150 different varieties at any given time. When they change all the time, it's not a standard, set item. We do have regular items, which I call them domestics, like your Bud, your Miller Lite, your Coors Light, your Rolling Rock, your Iron City products. But then you get into, like he had said before, the craft beers. There are so many different craft beers, and they're always changing, more coming on. Every Monday, he loves Mondays here because of the fact it comes in on Monday, and that's the day we say don't worry about it quite a bit because of the fact, he'll say, and who is this for, and who is that for, and, that's when we say our famous line, Dad, don't worry about it. We know who it's for because myself and my son keep the inventory as far as who gets what and where it's going. If it's staying here on the floor as an item to be sold to a consumer, or if it's going to a tavern. And a lot of the taverns around here, the newest thing is they want the newest item out there because of the fact then they feel, the public's going to come to our bar because we have the newest items out there. So that's it. That's
how
the
many
kind of
taverns
fight
do you have?
I
Roughly.
would say 40 to 50.
That's quite a few.
40 to 50. And, it's an everyday change of items. Every Monday, Wednesday, we get trucks. And so Monday and Wednesdays, we get a truck on Thursday. Those particular days, myself and my son are very busy as far as writing things down and changing things, as far as, like I said, who's getting what, where it's going. We've kind of given him the back seat to that job because of the fact it's very intense.
Now, if you were training me to come in and work here and be like your assistant, how would you go about doing that? There's so many variations.
First, I would start you off easy because if I started you off hard, you'd probably walk out the door. The easiest part of it, I would say, would be just learning your domestic stuff. That, like I said, the Coors Light, the Miller Lite, and then I'd put you into the craft brew line as far as the IPAs, the IPLs, the pale ales, and slowly drag you into that, and then drag you into some of the different sizes and quantities. And inventory is a big thing because every month we have to count everything on the floor. It has to be broken down per bottle, how many bottles we have, how many cans we have, how many half barrels, how many quarter barrels, and then every year we do an inventory of how many, like, for instance, if I explained it to you this way, if we have peanut butter here, we would say, okay, how many of Reese's peanut butter cups do you have? And then how many of, like, Hershey bars you have? You have to count everything into items, not just bottles, but items and bottles.
How
and
long does it
ounces. Usually it takes us a whole entire day to do that. And there's usually myself, my son, my dad's here, my sister comes up and helps. So there's about 5 of us that do it that day. And it's usually we do it New Year's Day. That's usually the slowest day of the year because of the fact people have partied out all night.
Sounds like just keeping inventory control is a job in itself.
It is. It is. It's very time consuming, and the LCB requires a lot as far as the inventory situation. I wish they would kind of slack off a little on that.
They'll come up with new legislation.
I'm sure they will.
Well, thank you.
Connie,
both.
when we
Yes.
started, I was
Yeah.
the only delivery person.
Mm-hmm.
And right today, at one time we had more when we were the wholesaler, but today there's 7 of us here.
7 now.
Yeah.
My goodness, gone from 1 to 7. That's still amazing when you just think of inventory control in itself.
Yeah.
Well, thank you both. We really enjoyed this, and we just don't stop and think how much really goes into a retail business like this. I'm so glad that you took the time to really be interviewed today, and I just want to say that Reno's father was a founder in the Board of Trade at Bethel Park in 1940s. Then Reno joined the Bethel Park Chamber in the 50s, and then he is still with us today working within the Bethel Park Chamber. Mary Lou has also started a co-founder of a business also called Jimmy and Mary Lou's next door, so they're keeping the economy moving here in Bethel Park.
Well, I'd like to present this certificate to Reno Virgili, his daughter, and his grandson for National Mom and Pop Business Owners Day, which is March 29th. And the certificate says Virgili Beer Distributor. So thank you all very much.
Thank you, Jack.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming today.
Thank you.
Hey, Ms. Brayford, thank you for celebrating the Mom and Pop's Business Ownership Day, March 29th, 2016. The Bethel Park Chamber would just like to recognize and honor the Mom and Pop's business for their achievements and establish success in the Bethel Park businesses. We recognize the hours of hard work and sacrifice that you've made over the years. We really just appreciate everything that you've done. Without the business acumen of entrepreneurs behind every Mom and Pop's business, this local community and the nation would be a very different place. This is shown by the number of jobs created by small business owners. These numbers have been higher than their corporate counterparts. According to the SBA, 28 million businesses in America account for 54% of all U.S. sales. Small businesses provide 55% of all jobs. Since the 1990, the big business has eliminated 4 million jobs, as small businesses made 8 million new jobs. The number of small businesses in the United States has increased 49% since 1982. We ask our community to join us in recognizing the contributions of small businesses owners shopping local this week. We applaud their success, their community support. Thank you.